Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Alopecia Angel podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Dahlman. Today, we're going to be talking about a latest research paper that has just come out. And really, it's a little startling when you start to read statistics, new research on alopecia, and what this looks like. In particular, this research paper is focused on autoimmune alopecia for women. And so I wanted to share it with you today because really, wherever your stance is in regards to your hair loss, especially if it's autoimmune, healing is truly the next step. It's not just about the hair, it's really about what could happen if we don't do anything about it. And think of it this way. Think of it as if you had an infestation of termites in your house, or if you had a bunch of cockroaches in your house, or even a leaky roof. Would you just let it go and think, oh, it'll just, go away on its own, or, it's just a few pests, or it's just termites, or it's just roaches, or it's just a leak, no big deal, it's not going to get any worse? Well, it can and it will. And that's the thing. This isn't just about hair. This is also about your health, whether or not you want to realize that, whether or not you want to be an ostrich and put your head underneath the sand. It really is about health at the end of it, not just about hair. Now, granted, hair is what brings a lot of people like myself and my clients to want to heal, but at the end of it, they're also preventing a whole host of things that could be going wrong later on in life. I will share this research here shortly. But before I do, I wanted to go ahead and take the opportunity to welcome anyone who is new to Alopecia Angel. If this is your first time listening to me, or if this is your first time getting to know me, or just stumbling upon my podcast, I highly, highly recommend that you visit our website, alopeciaangel.com. This is where you could find free downloads on the homepage. You can find a free training, which gives you a 30-minute snippet of what it is, how to heal, and really how we work with our clients so that you can understand the true healing that happens within our Hair and Heal program. Statistics of the program itself, 90% see hair growth in less than 8 weeks. The other 10% go on to find and get full hair growth, but it takes a few more weeks, and potentially because there's blind spots, there's things to work on, or other situations of that nature. The other thing I wanted to mention is if you have other types of hair loss outside of autoimmune, whether that's androgenic, telogen effluvium, postpartum, or any other type of hair loss, shedding can stop anywhere from week 1 to week 6. We've seen this over and over again with our clients where on average it takes literally anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to 6 weeks on average. So if you have massive shedding, this can all stop in less time for you. So let's go to that research paper. So according to Medical Dialogues, there was a paper written by Medha Baranawi, and the title says, Children and Women with Alopecia areata face greater risk of developing immune-mediated conditions. And the study was published on March 27th of this year. And it showcases that a new large-scale cohort study has found that patients newly diagnosed with alopecia areata face a significantly higher long-term risk of developing multiple immune-mediated inflammatory diseases, with the risk particularly pronounced among children and females. So maybe you've heard me say this before, but 25% of people with one autoimmune disease go on to acquire a second, a third, and even a fourth. I've seen children as young as 6-year-olds with 4 autoimmune diseases. I've seen women in their 50s with 4, 3, 2 autoimmune diseases. This is actually more common than you think. And this is actually something that you want to prevent, because the more inflammatory diseases or autoimmune diseases that you have, it actually decreases your risk of having a good, healthy life, but then also creates disability. It also creates more health issues and more things to look at. So the study published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology was conducted by Matthew H. Lanehart and colleagues from the Department of Dermatology at West Virginia University. Using data from the TriNex database, the researchers aimed to clarify whether individuals with newly diagnosed alopecia areata are more likely to develop additional immune-related conditions over time. For this purpose, the researchers identified 26,000 plus pediatric patients diagnosed before the age of 18 years and over 77,000 adults diagnosed at 18 years or older. Each group was matched with control individuals who had other hair loss conditions, such as telogen effluvium, while accounting for factors including age, race, and comorbidities. Importantly, patients with a prior history of inflammatory diseases were excluded to ensure that new onset conditions were assessed. Participants were followed for up to 10 years or until the development of an inflammatory disease, death, or loss to follow up. So the study led to the following findings. Patients with alopecia areata showed a substantially increased risk of developing multiple immune-mediated inflammatory diseases. What they're saying that these are the second, the third, the fourth autoimmune diseases that are happening that are based on immune inflammation. The risk increase was particularly pronounced in pediatric patients. Listen, parents, the risk increase was particularly pronounced in pediatric patients. Children with alopecia areata had more than fourfold higher risk of autoimmune thyroiditis and vitiligo compared to matched controls. So if your child has alopecia areata today, right now, they are 4 times more likely of acquiring autoimmune thyroiditis and vitiligo compared to others. Pediatric patients also had significantly higher risk of atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, and inflammatory arthritis. I've actually heard of children at the age of 14 and 15 having rheumatoid arthritis. This isn't uncommon. It's astounding. It's really sad to hear, but it's not uncommon in today's world. And this is what I'm talking about. If we're not doing something to help them heal instead of bypassing and saying, oh, it's just hair, well, then we are also opening the door for them to acquire a second, a third, a fourth autoimmune disease and to have a lesser quality of life. Think about that for a minute. A modest but statistically significant increase in celiac disease risk was observed in children with alopecia areata. Adults with alopecia areata also had an elevated risk of developing another autoimmune disease or inflammatory mediated disease compared to controls. The magnitude of risk in adults was generally lower than that observed in pediatric patients. In adults, increased risks were noted for atopic dermatitis, autoimmune thyroiditis, psoriasis, and vitiligo over the 10-year follow-up period. Overall, pediatric patients demonstrated stronger associations with immune-modulated diseases, second, third, fourth autoimmune diseases than adults. The strongest association in children were seen for atopic dermatitis, autoimmune thyroiditis, psoriasis, and vitiligo. Female patients had a higher risk of developing atopic dermatitis and autoimmune thyroiditis compared to males. This is actually quite clear with Hashimoto's. Women are more likely, especially after giving birth, to have Hashimoto's than compared to males at any point in their life. The authors highlighted that these findings reinforce the concept of shared immune pathways underlying alopecia areata and other inflammatory diseases. They emphasize that patients diagnosed with alopecia areata, especially children and females, may benefit from closer monitoring for early signs of additional immune-mediated conditions. And so this is very startling to hear. It's quite upsetting in many ways. And for those of you who are parents or females going through alopecia areata, understand and know that first and foremost, you can heal naturally. Naturally, healing is the best way, and it's really the only way because you're not going to heal with medications. There is no healing with minoxidil. There is no healing with JAK inhibitors. There is no healing any other way because you're not getting to the root causes. And it's so much more than diet. Diet is just one little piece to the overall puzzle. It really is. Diet is just one part of a foundation of rebuilding for your overall health for the rest of your life. For those of you who are interested in knowing, I actually do have clients currently inside the Hair and Heal program who have 4 autoimmune diseases, who have 3 autoimmune diseases, who have 2 autoimmune diseases, and those who just have 1, or those who have none and just have hair loss. And guess what? They all see results. They all see results because their plan is personalized to them, because their triggers, their blind spots are all different for all of them. Even if they were to have the same autoimmune disease, it would still look different. It does look different for each person. It's like saying that the foundation to each house, or each house looks the same on the block of your residence. It doesn't. They all look different. The foundation is different. The construction is different. Maybe the years that they were built are different. And so something to keep in mind, that alopecia is just the stepping stone and the doorway, the gateway per se, to more autoimmune diseases if you don't do anything about it. If you just let it, wait and see is not a strategy. Letting it go and seeing, if it goes away on its own, it's not going to happen. I actually, looking back at my own story, when I was diagnosed, I actually thought that was going to happen. Like it was just going to, heal itself essentially, as I did nothing for it in the beginning. And it took me a good 6 months to realize that things were getting worse, and things were getting worse very quickly. And that's when I started to pick up the pace and start taking action, because again, the waiting game is not in your favor. The waiting to see what happens, not in your favor. Again, it's not a strategy. The medications, not a strategy. Healing is possible. You can reverse 1, 2, 3, 4 autoimmune diseases. I've seen it happen with my clients who've had Graves' and alopecia, who've had thyroiditis or Hashimoto's with alopecia. I've seen people put into remission all 4 autoimmune diseases with this program. It's all tailored to each person. And even for those of you who don't have alopecia, or maybe get alopecia after chemo or after a cancer diagnosis, this still works. And it works because it's personalized to you individually. Now, for those of you who are thinking of having a child or conceiving and want to get pregnant but have alopecia, there's a couple of things for you to understand too. The thing is, healing yourself first is the best gift you can give to your future child, first and foremost. Second of all, why? Because when you heal, then they have better opportunities to come out healthier than ever. I've seen moms with alopecia universalis, and then also their kids at 5 and 7 also have alopecia universalis. That's not a coincidence, and it's not genetics. It's because the diet and the lifestyle, the blind spots, the triggers have all been there, and they haven't been uncovered. They haven't been rectified, and clearly they're affecting the children as well. So it's one of those things that you really want to spearhead. You want to take quick action, and you want to do this naturally and holistically, because again, those medications, the red light, the PRP, all these other nuanced therapies are not getting to the root cause, especially when it comes to autoimmune hair loss, especially. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to email us anytime. And you can always visit us at alopecia.𝐴ngel.com. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Alopecia Angel podcast, a positive light in healing alopecia. You can do this, and we can help. Spread the word that reversing alopecia is possible by telling your friends and family.